Success leaves clues. Right now, at this very moment, champions are being made, not born, made, in quiet gyms, in isolated offices, in laboratories, and in countless other places where ordinary people decide to become extraordinary. Look around you. The difference between champions and everyone else isn't talent. It's not luck. It's not circumstances. The real difference is in their minds, in how they think, how they process challenges, and how they respond to life's greatest tests. Your mind is the most powerful tool you'll ever possess. More potent than any computer, more valuable than any material possession. What you do with it determines everything about your future. I've studied success for over 30 years. I've watched people start with nothing and build empires. I've seen others overcome impossible odds. And there's one truth that stands above all others. Champions think differently. They see the world through a different lens. When others see obstacles, champions see opportunities. When others quit, champions push forward. When others make excuses, champions make progress. It's that simple, and yet that profound. Take Thomas Edison. He didn't just fail 1,000 times before creating the light bulb. He succeeded in finding 1,000 ways that didn't work. Each attempt brought him closer to his goal. That's the champion's mindset at work. Let me tell you about Michael. Michael was born in a small town with no connections and no money. But he had something more valuable. He had the mind of a champion. While others watched TV, Michael studied. While others slept, Michael planned. While others talked about their dreams, Michael worked on his. Today, he runs 3 successful companies and employs over 500 people. That's what champions do. They don't wait for opportunities. They create them. They don't wish for better circumstances. They build them. Most people live their lives on autopilot, accepting whatever comes their way. But you're different. You're here because something inside you knows there's more. That burning desire for excellence. That's your champion's mind speaking to you. The human brain processes around 60,000 thoughts per day. What separates champions is they choose which thoughts to focus on. They program their minds for success, just like you'd program a computer. Garbage in, garbage out. Excellence in, excellence out. Every Olympic athlete faces the same gravity. Every entrepreneur faces market forces. Every student faces the same tests. What makes the difference? It's not external forces, it's internal dialogue. Take Sarah, a single mother of 3. She worked as a waitress during the day and studied coding at night. People told her she was crazy to think she could become a software developer at age 40. But Sarah had the champion's mindset. She didn't see age as a barrier. She saw it as an advantage. Her life experience became her strength. Today, she's a senior developer at a top tech company, earning 6 figures and inspiring other career changers. Champions talk to themselves differently. They don't say, I can't. They ask, how can I? They don't say it's too hard. They say, I'm getting stronger. They don't say, I'm not ready. They say, I'm preparing to win. Your mind is like a garden. The thoughts you plant today become your reality tomorrow. Champions understand this. They carefully tend their mental garden, pulling out the weeds of doubt and planting seeds of success. Think about David, a young man with a severe stutter. Everyone told him to choose a quiet career to avoid public speaking. But David had different plans. He practiced speaking every single day. He recorded himself. He studied successful speakers. He joined speaking clubs. Today, he is a motivational speaker who has inspired millions. His stutter, it's still there sometimes, but he turned his biggest weakness into his greatest strength. Fear exists in everyone's life, but champions use fear differently. They recognize fear as a compass, pointing toward growth opportunities. When you feel afraid, you're standing at the edge of your comfort zone. That's exactly where champions choose to live. Let me tell you about Lisa. She lost everything in a house fire, her possessions, her memories, her sense of security. Most people would have been crushed, but Lisa had the champion's mindset. She saw this devastating loss as a chance to rebuild better than. Today, she runs a successful disaster recovery consulting firm, helping others turn their tragedies into triumphs. Think about a time you achieved something significant. Remember that feeling of accomplishment? That wasn't luck. That was your champion's mind at work. You already have this power within you. Now it's time to develop it consistently. Most people overestimate what they can do in a day and underestimate what they can achieve in a year. Champions think long-term. They understand that small, consistent actions compound over time into extraordinary results. Consider James, a high school dropout who worked as a janitor. Every day, he cleaned offices while listening to educational audiobooks. Every night, he studied business plans. People laughed when he talked about starting his own company. 5 years later, his cleaning company employs 200 people across 3 states. James didn't just clean floors. He built an empire, one sweep at a time. Every morning when you wake up, you have a choice. You can choose to be ordinary, or you can choose to think like a champion. It's not about your circumstances, it's about your response to those circumstances. Take Maria, an immigrant who arrived with $100 and a dream. She couldn't afford college, so she created her own education. She read books during her lunch breaks. She took free online courses while riding the bus to work. She asked successful people questions and took detailed note. 10 years later, she owned a thriving import-export business. Her secret: she never saw herself as a victim. She saw herself as a student of success. Consider bamboo. For 4 years, it grows underground, developing an elaborate root system. Nothing appears above the surface. Then, in the 5th year, it grows up to 90 feet in just 6 weeks. Champions understand this principle. They know that success isn't always visible to others until it breaks through. Your past doesn't determine your future unless you live there. Champions learn from the past, but live in the present and plan for the future. They understand that this moment, right now, is all that matters. Think about Robert, a former addict who hit rock bottom. He lost his family, his job, his self-respect. But in his darkest moment, he made a champion's decision. He decided his past would be a chapter in his story, not the whole book. Today, he runs several recovery centers, helping others rewrite their stories. His past became his purpose. The average person has about 12,000 to 60,000 thoughts per day. Champions make each one count. They direct their mental energy like a laser, focusing on solutions instead of problems, opportunities instead of obstacles, strengths instead of weaknesses. Let me tell you about Patricia. She started selling homemade cookies from her kitchen while battling depression. Each cookie was a small victory over her inner darkness. Each sale was a reason to get out of bed. Each customer interaction helped her heal. Today, her bakery chain employs 50 people, and she's known as much for her mental health advocacy as her delicious cookies. Money, success, recognition. These are not the goals of champions. They're simply the byproducts of championship thinking. The real goal is becoming the best version of yourself, and that journey never ends. Think about water. When it's heated to 211 degrees, it's hot. At 212 degrees, it boils, creating steam that can power engines. 1 degree makes the difference. Champions understand that small differences in thinking create enormous differences in results. Take Marcus, a young athlete who was told he was too short for basketball. Instead of accepting this limitation, he studied how to maximize his speed and agility. He developed a unique playing style that turned his size into an advantage. Today, he runs basketball camps teaching other undersized players how to excel. Every champion you admire faced defeat. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. Walt Disney was fired for lacking imagination. What made them champions wasn't avoiding failure. It was their response to failure. Consider Anna, who started 30 businesses before finding success. Each failure taught her something valuable. Each setback made her stronger. Each no brought her closer to her eventual. Yes, today she mentors young entrepreneurs, teaching them that failure isn't fatal. It's feedback. Your brain doesn't know the difference between real and imagined experiences. Champions use this to their advantage. They rehearse success in their minds until their bodies can't tell the difference between practice and performance. Let me tell you about Carlos, a paralyzed athlete who refused to give up his dream of competing. While his body healed, he visualized himself running. He mentally practiced every day for 2 years. When he finally took his first steps, his brain already knew the way. Today, he's completed 3 marathons. Most people live in the gap between where they are and where they want to be. Champions live in the game. They celebrate progress while pursuing excellence. They know that the journey itself is the reward. Think about Susan, who started learning piano at age 60. People said she was too old to master a new skill. But Susan didn't measure herself against other pianists. she measured herself against who she was yesterday. 5 years later, she performs at retirement homes, bringing joy to others while living her dream. Me zero as your body replaces itself over time. In 7 years, you'll have an entirely new physical body. But your thoughts are those stay with you. Champions know this, so they carefully choose their thoughts, knowing they're creating their future selves. Take William, a factory worker who read one book every week for 10 years. His co-editors called him a dreamer. But while they watched TV, he studied. While they complained, he learned. While they stayed the same, he grew. Today, he's a sought-after consultant, teaching companies how to improve their operations. The world belongs to those who expect success. Not hope for it, not wish for it, but expect it with every fiber of their being. Champions create this expectation through disciplined thinking and consistent action. Let me tell you about Elena, who started running at 45 to lose weight. Her first run was a 10-minute walk. But she had the champion's mindset. Each day she went a little further, a little faster. She celebrated every milestone, no matter how small. Last year at 50, she completed her first ultra-marathon. When others sleep in, champions rise early. When others watch TV, champions read books. And when others make excuses, champions make plans. These aren't just habits. They're manifestations of the champion's mindset. Consider Thomas, who lost his job at 55. Instead of retiring early, he turned his hobby of woodworking into a business. He started by making cutting boards in his garage. Each piece taught him something new. Each sale gave him confidence. Today, his custom furniture has a 6-month waiting list. Your potential is unlimited. The only ceiling on your achievement is the one you create in your mind. Champions understand this. They know that breaking through limitations starts with breaking through limiting thoughts. Think about Rachel, who grew up in poverty but refused to let it define her future. She studied at the library because she couldn't afford books. She practiced typing on a paper keyboard because she couldn't afford a computer. Today, she runs a technology education company, providing free training to underprivileged youth. Most people want microwave success in a crockpot world. Champions understand that lasting success takes time. They're willing to pay the price today for results that might not show up for years. Let me tell you about Kevin, who spent 5 years working on his invention in his spare time. People called him obsessed, told him to give up. But Kevin had the champion's mindset. He knew that persistence was the key to breakthrough. Today, his medical device saves lives in hospitals worldwide. Think about a thermostat. It doesn't just measure temperature. It sets it. Your mind works the same way. Champions set their internal thermostat to success, and their actions naturally follow to match that setting. Consider Maria, who started teaching herself English at age 40. She wrote new words on sticky notes and placed them all over her house. She practiced with anyone who would listen. She made mistakes and learned from them. Today, she's a translator helping other immigrants achieve their dreams. The quality of your life is determined by the quality of your questions. Instead of asking, why me? Champions ask what's next. Instead of asking, what if I fail? They ask, what if I succeed? Take Peter, a man who lost his leg in an accident. During rehabilitation, he asked himself, how can I use this experience to help others? Today, he designs prosthetic limbs that have helped thousands of people regain their mobility and independence. Every champion started exactly where you are right now, with a decision to think differently, a decision to act differently, a decision to become more than they were yesterday. Your thoughts create emotions. Emotions drive actions. Actions determine results. Champions understand this chain reaction. They know that changing their results starts with changing their thoughts. Let me tell you about Sandra, who transformed her small family restaurant during an economic downturn. Instead of focusing on the crisis, she asked, how can we serve our community better? She started delivery services, cooking classes, and meal prep programs. Her business didn't just survive, it thrived. Most people see success as something that happens to them. Champions see success as something that happens through them. They understand that they're not just the actor in their life story. They're the author. Consider a rubber band. It's only useful when it's stretched. Champions live in this stretch zone. They constantly push themselves beyond their comfort zone, knowing that growth happens at the edges of their capabilities. The world steps aside for people who know where they're going. Champions have clarity of purpose. They don't hope to succeed. They expect to succeed. They don't try. They commit. Think about George, who started exercising at 300 pounds. His first workout was a 5-minute walk, but he had the champion's mindset. He focused on progress, not perfection. Each day, he did a little more than the day before. 2 years later, he completed a triathlon. Your mind is like a parachute. It only works when it's open. Champions keep their minds open to new ideas, new possibilities, and new ways of thinking, but they're selective about what they let in. Take Amanda, who turned her learning disability into a teaching innovation. She struggled with traditional teaching methods, so she created her own. Today, her educational programs help thousands of students who learn differently. Most people live by default. Champions live by design. They understand that life doesn't happen to them. It responds to them. Their thoughts, their decisions, their actions shape their reality. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Champions understand this principle. They know that perception creates reality, so they choose their perceptions carefully. Your life moves in the direction of your strongest thoughts. Champions direct their mental energy toward their goals with laser-like precision. They understand that scattered thoughts create scattered results. The size of your success is determined by the size of your belief. Champions believe in possibilities beyond current circumstances. They see potential where others see problems. You are where you are because of how you think. You will be where you want to be when you think like the person who would be there. That's the champion's mindset. That's your birthright. That's your future. The time is now. The person is you. The mindset is everything. Choose to think like a champion, and you live like a champion. Success isn't a destination. It's a decision you make right now, in this moment, with your next thought. Your life is waiting for you to step up and claim it. Champions don't wait for permission. They take action. They don't wait for perfect conditions. They create their own opportunities. The world needs what you have to offer. Your dreams matter, your goals matter, your potential matters, but none of it will matter unless you develop the mindset of a champion. Start now. Start where you are. Start with what you have. The champion's mindset isn't something you're born with. It's something you build one thought at a time, one day at a time, one victory at a time. The future is calling. Will you answer with the mindset of a champion?